Oh hi, I almost didn't see you there. It's me, Mopboy8, incredibly famous YouTuber and registered sex offender. Now I see a lot of you out there having trouble with CSGO betting, not knowing the intricacies of betting and who to bet on. So I decided to make this video to help all of you. I'm going to share my 5 betting tips with the world. So let's go. Number 1. Always bet your best skins. Imagine if you bet on VP versus Fnatic, winning with a 40% ratio and winning only $37. Pathetic. That's what happens when you don't bet your best skins. So don't be a pussy, put up all your AWP Asimovs and gut knives in every bet. You'll thank me later. Number 2. If you run out of skins, borrow your friend's skins and bet them. You probably won't run out of skins with these pro tips, but if you do, just do this. First off, message your friend and ask to borrow their skins. Don't say you're betting it. Then, bet it. Easy. Your friends will thank you when you win a bunch of skins. Number 3. If the team you bet on loses, harass them. The team that lost needs to know that they're shit at Counter-Strike, and the best way to do that is harass them. You can do this through YouTube comments, through calling their home phone. Hey Freakazoid, you're a stupid idiot head, and you're a dumb idiot, you can't even play Counter-Strike, go back to Dota 3. Hello, Pasha? Yeah, how could you lose that game, you little piece of poop? I bet you like licking the moss off the pavement on a cold summer's eve. Or my favourite, donations. Number 4. There's no such thing as betting addiction. So you lost a couple bets and now you think you're addicted. Boo-hoo. You can only become addicted to things that elicit a chemical reaction like heroin or League of Legends. Just keep betting more to cover your losses, practice betting to increase your betting skill, and you'll get out of that rut in no time at all. Number 5. Remember the 3 commandments. Max and relax, go big or go home, and you don't get rich betting like a bitch. With these 5 simple tips, I managed to make a profit of $375,000 in just 3 weeks, and you can too. Just remember me when you're rich and you got a lot of skins to donate.
Hi, I'm John the Engineer, great Canadian gambler, Taj Professor of Poker Systems Engineering. And today I'm going to teach you Poker Power Tool number 5 from my book, Play Hold'em Poker Like a Bookie. And it's entitled The 2-Card Hands Odds System. It's a simple way to know the chances of a certain group of hands existing, the percentage, figuring it out like that, and being very, very, very close. So, check it out. I made up this little grid so that you can actually see each individual combination of cards as we discuss the probabilities. Now, we know that there are 52 times 51 over 2, and that's 1,326 different combinations. Now, you can have, let's take the first column. It's headed by the ace. On the top, it says non-suited. Ignore that for a moment. And now we'll go down. First one is an ace. So how many combinations of ace-ace are there to make a pair? Well, 6 out of 1326. Go down to the king. How many combinations are there? Can you make a king? Ace-king. Well, you can make that in 12 different ways. 16 different ways. 4 of them are suited. Clubs, hearts, diamonds, spades. And the other 12 are unsuited. Now, same thing with every ace-queen. Same thing with every ace-jack, and with every ace-10, and with every ace-9. You can have 4 suited combinations, 12 unsuited. So there are 3 times as many non-suited combinations as there are suited. Now, if we want to discuss a hand like ace-king suited, we'll weight that 1 instead of 4. And we can do the same thing for the unsuited. We'll weight that 3 times instead of 12. And that means that the 6 combination for pairs divided by 4, we have to weight that 1.5. Now, what's interesting about this is if we add up all those weights, we have 71 combinations of suited hands, and then we have 78 times 3 combinations of unsuited hands, and that's 34. And we have 13 combinations of pairs times 1.5, which comes to a total weight of 20. And if you add all that up, that comes to 1/4 of 1326, naturally, 331.5. Now I said, wow, that comes really close to 333.3, a third of 1,000. So if we want to know the probability of any group of hands, all we have to do is add up their weights, multiply by 3, and drop a 0. And that'll give us an answer with incredibly precise precision. Let's take a few examples. This too from my book, Play Hold'em Poker Like a Bookie, at the end where I explain. Let's take the pair of aces there. Well, we say there's one combination times a weight of 1.5 times 3, and that comes to 4.5. Drop at 0, 0.45%. Now, the true is 0.4525, but it's an incredibly small error. So let's take another example. Any pair of aces, kings, or queens. Well, you have 3 combinations that weigh 1.5, and that comes to 4.5. And then you multiply by 3 and drop a 0 to get 1.35%. And the true weight is 1.3575%. Tiny, tiny error for a fingers and toes kind of a system. How about any pair? Well, there are 13 combinations times a weight of 1.5, that's 19.5, times 3, drop a 0, that's 58.5, drop a 0, 5.85%. Instead of 5.88%. Almost no error. Now let's look at the ace-king suited. Well, there's only one combination. And if you multiply by 3 and then drop a 0, it comes to 0.3%, which is about 330 to 1. Now let's look at any suited hand. 78 different suited combinations, all the ones down there in blue. And we multiply by 3, that brings us to 23.4% when you drop to 0 instead of 23.53%. Tiny, tiny error. How about any 2 spades? Well, now you have to actually take your 78 combinations and divide by 4 because you're only picking spades, not any suited hand. So once that's done, you end up with 5.85% having any 2 spades, and it's 5.88% regularly, so the error is super tiny. Finally, let's take a look at any king-queen. Well, you have 1 suited and 3 unsuited. That's a weight of 4. Times 3, drop a 0, is 1.2%. About 80 to 1, 75 to 1. So with a margin of error of only 1 in 200, you can't be more precise with any other fingers and toes counting system. The suited combinations weigh 1, pairs weigh 1.5, and unsuited weigh 3. Now, let's take an example. I was reading from the Poker Player magazine, the Canadian Poker Player magazine, Pushing Any 2 by Bo Frick, where he goes through an analysis, pointing out that when your chances are good enough, it's worth going all in. But here's a situation he gave us. Assume you'll be called by any pair. Now, you had a pair of 2s, so assume you'll be called by any pair and any ace with kicker over 6 and any 2 Broadway cards. So any 2 cards bigger than a 10. He says that constitutes 21.6%. Well, where did he get that number? That's a lot of work for most people to try and figure what that number might be. But with the little Poker Power tool number 5, we count that, we have, normally an ace has 12 suited combinations, but we're dropping 4 of them, so we have 8 suited combinations, weight 4, 32. And then we have 12 pair combinations that beat my deuces times 1.5, 18. So that brings us to 50. And then we have the Broadway cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 4, 24. We bring it to a weight of 74. Multiply by 3, drop a 0, 22.2%. Now, because of the pair of 2s, you have to add an extra 1/25th because that's worth 4%. 2 of those cards are gone. So that actually the probability of all the hands is increased a little more by 4%. So it actually, if you add an extra 1/25th, when you get your numbers, it comes to 23%. Not bad. And I think my number's closer than his number. I don't know where he got 21.6. So there it is. That is how the little Poker Power tool number 5 works. You count the combinations. The blue ones are the suited ones, and you count the combinations of the unsuited ones, and the combinations of the pairs that are against you. Add up the group, get that number, multiply by 3, drop a 0, and that's the percent of that group being out there. And if you happen to have 2 cards taken out of play in your hand, add 4%, add an extra 25th to your number, and that'll give you almost dead-on accuracy. So, I'm John the Engineer Turmel, saying this is the 2-card hand odds system. I published it many, many years ago, and it was only possible because I noticed that 331 is really close to 333, which made multiplying by 3 and dropping a 0 real easy.